So today I'm going to be discussing the environmental effects of Chernobyl. So this is my first body paragraph argument, and I apologize to my history teacher because I did the counter argument before everything else, but I just thought that it would be better to see how Russia viewed it and then see the effects of how the USSR took care of things and what effects it had. So on April 26, 1986, the biggest nuclear power meltdown occurred, as we know, in the town of Pripyat in the USSR, modern-day Ukraine. Unfortunately, this explosion triggered long-term effects on the environment. For example, right now I'm quoting information, and I have the work cited below. Radionuclides were taken up by plants and later by animals. So this resulted in radioactive particulates, specific radionuclides being found in milk, meat, forest, food products, fresh water, fish, and wood. So I'm going to be talking about two different ecosystems here, and I'm going to be talking about forests and bodies of water. So the most significant radioisotopes released was iodine-131, cesium-137, strontium-90, and plutonium. Because out of all of these, radioactive cesium, as mentioned before, was continuously taken up and passed through the organisms in a forest ecosystem and resulted in something known as biomagnification and bioaccumulation, meaning the higher you go up in the food chain, the more concentrated radioactivity would be in that organism. So for example, lichen would have a very small amount, but because at the top of the food chain, let's say for example reindeers, they would have a higher amount of bioaccumulation, and this significantly impacted Arctic and subarctic ecosystems, because for the majority of the people, that's what they would eat. So they were getting actually large amounts of radiation. On top of that, like the reindeer itself, they were not able to live because of the amount of radiation they had. On top of that, forests were not the only ecosystem impacted. Many people just read about the reindeer and how it impacted people as far as Finland and Norway, but they were not the only one. Bodies of water suffered large amounts of contamination. It is important to keep in mind that radiation does not go away. When it's in the water, it simply does not go away. It is persistent. It will stay there for a very long time. So the radionuclides that were in the bodies of water was iodine-131. And the issue with this contamination was that the uptake of radioiodine was so fast by fish. It was almost instantaneous. And it impacted greatly the aquatic food chain. And as you know, being in that specific ecosystem, fish are very important to a lot of predators and are key species. So the impacts of the Chernobyl nuclear meltdown were in a way. They were on a large scale, but they were impacting the smallest things as something that people might not think was a big deal, such as fish or reindeer. But in the long run, because of bioaccumulation and all of these environmental factors and it being persistent, the nuclear reaction resulted in extensive environmental degradation.